Hi my dear readers, this is Simona Rich. In this video I would like to talk about simplicity. We need so little for us to be happy, and because of the way that our society is now structured and functions, people are lost in complexity, in things to do, and they lose what's most important in their lives, which is time in this existence. So they run for money, but then they end up not having any time. So then what's the point? Whilst there are always options to simplify your life so that you may be earning less, but you have more time, which is great. Then you can relax into the present moment and become creative, because when you relax into the present moment, then creativity arises, happiness arises, joy arises, and you feel so grateful for even the smallest things. And what I find is that the more I simplify my life, the happier I become. And for me, I can tell that the less things to do I have, the fewer responsibilities I have, the happier I become. And so now, as I'm no longer renting the apartment in the capital, but I am living on my own land in a hut, I have so few expenses that I don't need to worry about how much money I earn. I don't need to worry about this at all. So this creates so much happiness. I can totally relax, and I work on my land. Now I'm digging the beds, vegetable beds, and I enjoy beautiful weather. I take daily walks with my dog, and I just can live. That's the thing. When you simplify your life, when your expenses are very low, you can just relax into living. You don't need to worry about how to survive, whether you will get enough money. You don't need to worry about this at all. And for me, this creates happiness. And all of us can somehow simplify our lives. And I recommend people to move out of cities, because if you simplify your life in the city, for example, you have to rent some kind of smaller place, cheaper place. Usually you will end up in a bad location, in a dangerous location. Whilst if you buy a small plot of land, then you can find it in places that are absolutely beautiful, totally in nature. And if you have little money, you can buy, like me. I didn't buy this land for a lot of money. It was cheap because it only had a small hut. But even if in your place land is more expensive, then you can buy land that is totally without anything, and then little by little you can make that place livable. Of course, it will take time, but you don't have to do everything at once. But at least you will start getting established somewhere where in the end you will need to pay much less, because at first, of course, you will need to invest some money, but then there are always alternatives. Like for me, yes, I don't have my own water source. I'm waiting for this to be done, but I can still get water for washing my body from the stream nearby. There is a public well, but it's not working, so I can go to the shop and buy water for drinking. So there are always alternatives, but little by little it's really good to establish yourself on your own land, because firstly you will invest some money, but then you will live almost for free, especially if you also get your own electricity supply, like through solar power. Then you almost spend no money at all. And heating, it can be done by burning wood. For example, I live near the forest, and my neighbors, all of them, they have so much wood and they get it for free from the forest. I don't know if it's legal or not, but I don't care. But that's what they do. And they live almost for free. And I think even if you have little money, you can invest it in a small plot of land and then just little by little get established there, because you will not realize if you do small things gradually over a period of time, you will realize how much you have done. And for me, in these uncertain times, living on your own land is the best thing that you can do, because you can find in natural places your own water, or you can dig even your own water. You can dig it by hand. There are methods to do that. And then you can grow vegetables, so you kind of feel secure when you have your own land. Whilst if you're renting a place in the city, then you will not feel secure, and it's very easy then for governments to control you, because they will say, if you don't get vaccinated, you will not get a job. And if you have your own land, then you are not worried about that, because you can still survive, and paying for land is not much. But if you rent somewhere in a city, then you could start being fearful. And although it's never good to be afraid because you lose guidance, but it's just much more easier to get into that fear mode when you don't have that stability of your own land. That's what I find. And living in your own land, on your own land, is just so good for the body. When I, for example, now work on a daily basis on my land, except when it's raining, and if it's not raining, I do something for my home. Now I repainted the cupboards, the shelves that you see in the background. So there is so much work inside and outside of my hut, and it's so good for the body, because I don't even need to exercise anymore. Like when I was living in the city, I would exercise and I walk on a daily basis, yet I was still not fit. But now I lost weight and my body is getting so strong, and the core of the body is getting strong, because I'm doing natural things that people are supposed to do, like building, working on land, going to take water. So it kind of builds core strength. That's what I find. It's like I'm becoming really strong overall. And that's what happened also when I was staying in this place a few years ago. That's also I found that my health is always good, but the strength increased. And it's just so nice to wake up without any worries and do what you want to do. Like for me now, I'm reading a lot about how to plant. I'm preparing I will probably plant new seedlings, because it's still cold here to plant everything in the ground. But it's just, you wake up without any worries, and you can, for example, go for a walk, and you can do it so slowly. I stop and take pictures of plants that I find interesting, and then I come back, and then I again read about seeds, or just look through the window if it's so beautiful, or go outside to work. So it's just, this kind of life is so simple and so relaxing. And I find that at first many people love cities. Like when I was born in the city, I didn't really like much nature, but then India changed me. When I moved to India, I just totally fell in love with nature. And very often people with age start becoming more attached to the land, and they want to move to places more natural, whilst not all, but many young people, they like the busyness of the city. But often this passes away, and when hormones calm down, you kind of start liking more peaceful places. I've put now quite a lot of fabric on the ground, because I want to cover it with small decorative stones, or whatever small stones I can afford. and I'm doing this work now when it's not raining, but now recently it started to rain quite a lot, so I need to wait for the rain to stop and then I resume that work. So again, I have 12 hours, so it's a lot of land to cover, and probably I will try to cover 6 hours now, and later I will do the rest of the garden, but now I'm focusing on the area around my hut. So, and now I'm not getting discouraged, because the time that I bought this land, when I realized how much work there was, I started getting discouraged. But now I really mentally prepared before coming here, realizing how much work there is, and now I feel okay. And often I get questions whether I'm not afraid being alone here on my own land, and the answer is no, I don't feel afraid. Nobody visits this place, it's totally quiet, and I have neighbors nearby. So at night, when I need to go to use the outhouse, because I don't have the toilet inside, I have to use the outhouse, I feel so relaxed, and I enjoy the sky, the stars when I walk. It's just, I don't even think about danger. Even at night when I walk, it's my own place. It's fenced off, and again, it's such a quiet place. And it's so funny, I read somewhere like that thieves are busy robbing people in cities. They don't rob people, places like that. And it's true. Here, most people just spend their summer, so there is nothing to rob. So there are no people, waiting for you to leave your home so that they get inside. Nothing like this. It's totally quiet, and also neighbors know each other, so if some strange person would come, maybe someone would see, or dogs would start barking. So again, I don't feel afraid here, and I don't feel lonely here. I have a dog, and I'm always on my own anyway, so that didn't change things. But as I said before, when I was staying here for 3 months and I was then on my own in this hut, that time I felt like humans are social creatures and I need some contact with humans. But I think that's because of our bodies. We are not the bodies, but we are in these bodies, and these bodies are really social. They need one another. So after 3 months of being totally on my own, I realized that I need some kind of contact. But now, so far, I feel really good. And again, now I have a dog, so there is some kind of company there, and I have so much work that I don't have time to think whether it's isolated or not. But I don't feel isolated. Maybe that time when I was staying here, it was also, the weather was getting very cold, so I had to stay inside all the time, and maybe this was isolating because this place is small, this hut is small. So I think that could have contributed to it. And I was writing some book then, so I was always sitting in the hut, so maybe that contributed to it. But no, now I feel really good. I have so much work, and I feel really uplifted to be in nature all the time. Now nature is awakening because of spring. It's beautiful to see all the new blossoms and all the trees becoming starting to bring forth blossoms and small leaves, and it's just beautiful to see that. And so I don't have time to dwell on something like whether it's isolating here or not. But I encourage people to think about getting their own lands, because this world in general is not secure. Anything could happen. There could be a massive earthquake and millions of people could die. Anything could happen in this world. This world is not a place that we actually belong to. It's just the place that these bodies function these bodies live in. So in this place, although it's insecure and it's temporary, I think having land does feel secure in this insecure place. And there is then, you can get your water supply, you can get your food, and you can just do with your time what you please, rather than slaving for some company and doing some pointless job to afford keeping your apartment in the city that's polluted. I think it's much better to move to land and live peacefully, slowly, mindfully, and need to have very few expenses, so that then you can also survive on your own creative pursuit, even if you don't get paid much for it. So that's the video for now, personal update as well as some mindfulness things. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. Take care.